Romantic relationships are loaded with red flags, problems, difficulties, dangers, traps. But given enough time, even we men can be taught to manage them, avoid them, call them out. Unless the trap is built into the system. And this is where we get into trouble. If a woman likes you from the very beginning, she is going to put you on something called the relationship escalation ladder. This is a ladder that you don't know you're on, but it is a progressive increasing in the intensity of commitment in the relationship. Now, we all know that men possess the key to commitment, and so you would say, John, I don't have to give my commitment up. Oh, but my friend, it is very insidious. And before you know it, you reach that point of failure, and you won't realize you're there until it's way too late. This is Life 2.0. Let's talk about it. So let's imagine for a moment that you're in a relationship with a woman that is checking all your boxes. She's beautiful, she's smart, she's intuitive, she's thoughtful, kind. Everything seems to be working good. You're in the pink mist. You got that romantic haze that you really can't see through. So you can't really be certain that everything is good, but from where you sit right now, everything seems good. Let's say you're a year, maybe 18 months into this relationship. The sex is terrific. You guys are having a great time together. Nothing is wrong with this relationship. And then she mentions at dinner one night that her lease is coming up for renewal. And of course, these days, you know, the way the economy is, these rental companies are just bumping rents up ridiculously, you know. Seeing your rent go up by 20 or 30% all of a sudden isn't unusual these days. And so she's facing a new bill, or maybe she was paying $2,000 a month before. Now she's looking at $2,600 and she's saying, honey, I just don't think I can afford it. And so you, being the noble, thoughtful, kind, generous provider and protector that you are, you say, oh, I know what I can do. I know how I can help. I have a great place. I own my place. My rent's not going up. And so you step right into it without even realizing it. You have been set up perfectly. And you say these words, well, maybe you can just move in with me. And this is when everything changes. This is when you reach that single point of failure. You don't realize you've reached it. You don't realize this happened to you. You don't realize that from this point forward, everything in your relationship has shifted. That the power dynamics, everything have shifted. But you go forward with it anyway, because you have no clue what you're getting into. Now, she becomes your roommate. Congratulations, my friend. You have just changed the universe. I've personally seen this happen so many times, not just in the guys that I coach, but I hate to admit it, but in my own personal life. I have made this mistake multiple times. Arguably 5 times. Yeah, this is this is something that I know about intimately. So my sharing this with you is not just theoretical. This is firsthand experience. I'm bringing it to you straight from the heart here. It's a flaw that's sort of built into the system. Like that old saying, you know, it's not a bug, it's a feature. That's basically what this is. When you make the commitment to move in with your girl, you have just escalated way up that ladder. You are now just a breath away, just a moment of bad judgment away from having a ring on your finger. You are so close to it, you can smell it. The problem is, and this was my problem all along the way, is that as the words came out of my mouth, yeah, you can stay with me, those famous last words, like it didn't occur to me in that instant, but I can almost feel like there's an itch at the back of my brain when I say it. Like, I can remember feeling that itch in the back of my brain, realizing there's something about this that I need to stop and recognize. But because of the pink fog of romantic love, it somehow gets lost. Somehow you don't see it. You don't recognize it for what it is. And next thing you know, she's moving in with you. Now, when she goes from being the subject of all your love and passion and romance and, getting ready to go on a date and all the planning that goes into it, and then the seduction, all that wonderful stuff, a part of the courting process. Once she moves in, that part of your life is over. Like, all the excitement and fun that was really what the romance was about just sort of came to an end. I remember in college, I lived with my best friend for a little while. He was my best friend. I mean, we were best friends. We drank, we did all kinds of terrible shit together. We did all kinds of shit. And I enjoyed his company, I really did. But I'll tell you, man, that guy got on my nerves like nobody else in the world. Like, he could get on my nerves. He was the biggest slob. Oh my God. You never want to go in the bathroom after him. In the kitchen, forget about it. Oh, he had no concept of cleanliness or organization whatsoever. And when you're living with someone, even someone that you really like, it changes your perspective on them just a bit. And I would argue that it's not always healthy. That it's not necessarily a good thing. Especially when it's a woman, especially when it's the focus of all your romantic energy. When you're in this passionate love affair with a woman and you bring her into your home and she becomes your roommate, now the dynamics, the social dynamics of this relationship have taken a turn that you are not aware of, because it's going to change very subtly, and you're going to find yourself being confronted with questions that are going to steal from you your autonomy, but you're going to go along with it because you're just a nice guy, just because you're trying to be accommodating, you're generous, you want to be easy to get along with, so you're going to just go along with a lot of this stuff, and it's going to destroy your relationship. Like I said, I've done this at least 4 times, and since my ex-wife is there now, it's like this is the 5th time, but it's different now, so there's no romance involved. But for the 4 times that it happened before that, in each of those cases, I was involved in an intense romantic relationship that involved a lot of pink mist, a lot of pink haze that prevented me from seeing clearly what was going on. And not only that, but when you're involved in an intimate relationship with a woman, she's giving you her body. She's giving you herself. And so on some profound level, we as men think we owe her. Like what she's doing for me, there's no way I'm doing that for her. So what can I throw in there to make this deal a little sweeter for her, And so she's running into some kind of financial hardship, or her rent comes up, who knows, whatever it is. She comes into a situation where she finds herself facing homelessness. Ooh, man, that just gets you right in the heart, doesn't it? Poor thing, she's gonna be homeless unless I do something. Yeah, like she's an adult, like she can't take care of herself. Oh, that's your first red flag, man. She doesn't know what to do. She's coming to you for suggestions as to how she can resolve this problem of potential homelessness that she's facing. She knows exactly what she's doing, by the way. This is not just some, I'm just watching my dog. I'm just watching Deepu jump off the sledge, and he just jumps. Anyway, she knows exactly what she's doing. She knows what she wants in the end. She's already thought this through. In fact, she's probably thought it through several times in her head. She hasn't just thought about what she wants. She's thought about how she's going to present it to you, what argument she's going to provide if you resist. She's already thought through this whole entire conversation. And so by the time you hear this topic come up, she's been through it at least a dozen times in her head. She knows exactly the direction this thing is going. In fact, she's so far ahead of you, she already knows that you're going to agree to it, and she's already imagining how she's going to rearrange your place. Like she knows what furniture is going to go, what color the walls are going to be, what's going to happen to that old bedding of yours, whether or not you're going to keep your dog. She's already thought it all through. Oh my God, it's upsetting, It's very upsetting. On one occasion, I had just bought a new townhouse, and my son and I were getting ready to move in there. And I was dating this woman who was, I guess she was like maybe 7, 8 years younger than me. I think I was like around, I was probably like 30, 31 or something like that, right around 30. And she was like 22, 23, so she was a good deal younger than me. She was very pretty, and she really loved me a lot. I mean, I knew she really loved me. But there was something about her that was not congruent throughout our relationship. And I recognized it at different points, but I just sort of ignored it, you know? We were on our way to see a concert, and she loved country music, and I'm okay with country music. I'm not a huge fan. But she really wanted to go to this concert, so I'm taking her to this country music concert. And on the way there, somebody comes off one of the on-ramps and cuts us off. And so I moved to the other lane to get around the guy because he had cut us off and was going too slow right away. So I'm going around him. And she rolls down the window and starts letting out a barrage of obscenities that would make any sailor proud. I mean, she was just in this guy's face, sticking her head out the window, giving him the finger, just being nasty. I mean, just blowing it up. And all I'm thinking to myself is, you don't know anything about that guy. He may have a gun. You may have just triggered him. We don't know what this is about, but that is not the way to handle the situation. Especially, I wouldn't do that as a man. What the hell are you doing that as a woman? That was a red flag that I should have recognized right away. Like that memory thought is stuck in my head. But of course, when you're in that romantic, you know, the pink mist, you don't think of it. You don't recognize it. You don't see it for what it is. Anyway, so I bought this house, this little townhouse. It's just a little 2-bedroom townhouse. It's a nice area. It was a big move for me. And it was really kind of reestablishing my son and I in this new place. And it was going to be just for him and I. And she's helping me with it, you know. She's helping me choose paint colors and shit like that, you know. And there was some work that needed to be done before I could move in. So I was in there doing a lot of the repair work and just little things just to kind of make it nice. And she's in there helping me. God bless her, you know, she was a big help. And she made it clear to me in that moment that it was her intention to move in. Because she was saying like, and this is going to be Spencer's room and this is going to be our room. And it just hit me all at once. It's like, wait, what? Wait, what? Our room? Like, oh my God, she just snuck it in there. Like it was nothing, you know? Like it wasn't the most significant event in my life, in her life, in this whole transaction, that suddenly she was gonna be including herself in it. Just because we were sleeping together and had been seeing each other for a long time, she just drew the conclusion automatically that she was moving in with me at this juncture, since I was moving in there. Oh my God. That was a difficult one, because luckily, I knew shortly thereafter. She did come in for a little while, for like maybe a couple weeks, and it became very apparent that this was not working at all. You know, she became super dictatorial over my son, and she started like trying to be not just a mother, but like a disciplinarian. And it was just like, you know, I'm not buying this. I'm not going for it. So luckily, because of her behaviors and having her physically in my space all the time, I became acutely aware that I could not stand her, and she had to go. And she was so angry at me. Oh, there was tears, there was fighting, there was, you know, going back and forth between, you know, her accusing me of being, you know, an asshole and using her and lying to her. And I was like, I never lied to you. I never promised you were going to live here. And then the tears and the crying about how hurt she was. And how, I mean, she just gave me the full spectrum of emotional extortion. And luckily I didn't buy it. I did not take it on for a moment. But this emotional extortion is part of the deal too. So whether you realize it or not, when you're presented with the opportunity by your woman to have her move in with you, if you disagree, eventually you're going to get to that level of emotional extortion, and it's going to be very difficult to push her away. But you need to do it anyway. So about a year later, I had this ad, like a personal ad on America Online. For you guys who are old enough, you know what that is. I can't remember if there were any pictures in it or not. Maybe there was a picture. I can't remember. But anyway, I posted this ad on America Online as a single dad. I'll tell you what, you think that puppies are going to get you girls? Being a single dad, that is the shit there. Man, women come out of the woodwork for single dads. But I was getting tons and tons and tons of offers. But a lot of them were from across the country. They're from Texas, they're from Washington State, from California. It's like, what am I gonna do with that? I'm not gonna pay for your trip here. I don't even know what you look like. You know, I'm not gonna do that. They would send me pictures, you know. Anyway, so this woman lived nearby. She lived in a town very close to me, and I had not seen her pictures. We had just conversed on the phone and in writing, and so I told her I'd meet her at the local mall. Anyway, so I get to the meeting place, and I see this woman there, and I'm like, you know, I just don't know that she's right for me. I'm looking at her, and she's looking very, very, very hippie, very liberal, very, like, way off the deep end on the left, you know. She's got the earrings and stuff in her face, and I see she's got a little tattoo on her arm. So this whole rings and tattoos thing, I've been there. I've done that. I've literally been in that situation. And so I was getting ready just to turn around and walk away, and then she sent me a text. She says, "Is that you?" Like, oh, fuck. She saw me. So I had to turn around and act like I was not walking away. Anyway, so we have a cup of coffee or whatever at the mall, and I can see some attraction in her, and she's certainly being very nice, and so I agreed to see her a few more times. Anyway, that relationship evolves into a very intense, you know, affair, and she had tattoos in other places that I did not expect to see. But in any event, that's not what this video is about. She decided that her living arrangements where she was now, she was living with a roommate, were not working out. I can't remember exactly what it was. There was some kind of a conflict with the roommate, and the roommate had to have someone else move in, or the boyfriend of the roommate was over there all the time. She didn't feel comfortable. That's what it was. The boyfriend of the roommate was over there all the time, and she felt uncomfortable because she was, you know, walking around in her nightie or whatever, and she's like, I just don't feel like it's a good idea for me to be in that situation. So she's setting me up, you know. She's giving me the, you know, you need to protect me kind of mode. Like, you wouldn't want some other man looking at all of this. He might not be able to control himself, you know. I might find myself alone with him at some point. You never know. So she's triggering all these, you know, jealousy / insecurity things in my head. So I'm like, hey, no problem. You can stay with me for a while, you know. I just said for a while. I didn't say forever. Like, come on in. Come on and stay with me. And she brought her 2 cats. Oh, that was a disaster. And you know, and we tried playing house. I think we really did. We tried playing house for, I want to say, about 2 months. And some aspects of it were fun. I mean, there was still lots and lots and lots of sex. I mean, she was really good at that. She was really good at making sure that that aspect of my psyche was taken care of. She would have sex with me day and night, every day, every night. And so I enjoyed that aspect of it. But again, she felt like she had some kind of a maternal responsibility for my son, which I really did not like at all, because I didn't know her to, I don't know, I just wasn't totally down with it. And her cats were problematic, and we had arguments because my dog really did not like her cats. Anyway, it evolved to a place where it became clear that it wasn't working out. And so again, I said to her, look, I know that the whole thing with the roommate wasn't working, but maybe you could give it another try, you know, because I feel like maybe our relationship is advancing too quickly, because we were talking about marriage. And as soon as that came up, it was like, oh, see, I knew that that was not what I wanted in this situation. I knew that was not what I was hoping for. And as soon as I started pushing back against the marriage thing, then the whole living together thing began to fall apart very quickly. And one day I woke up, no, I got home from work. That's what it was. One day I got home from work and she had cleared out of my house, just completely gone, took in everything. And of course, there's the immediate shock and a little bit of being offended by the fact that she left me, you know, like, who does she think she is, kind of thing. But then there's a sense of relief that goes, oh, now I don't need to worry about this anymore. She just disappeared. And then she never talked to me again. Like, she never talked to me again. Well, she did, like 10 years later, she called me up. But Like after she left, there was no more communication between us. She blocked me on her phone. Like there was no more communication. And so I started having nightmares like, well, maybe something terrible happened. Maybe she's pregnant, you know? Maybe she discovered that she was pregnant and she left because she didn't want to have the baby with me and now she's somewhere else. Like my head was in a tizzy for about a decade until one day she called me up and she just wanted to apologize because I had given her some money way back when, and she said, you know, I feel like I owe you this money, etc. I'm sorry I left on such short order. I just didn't have the money to pay you back. I didn't want to have that be an issue. And I was like, whew, thank God you're not pregnant. Thank God there are no little versions of me running around wherever you are. But yeah, I was glad when she was gone. And in fact, in every situation that I have had, and that's my son's mother, when she was gone, oh, what a relief that was. Those two, when they were gone, what a relief they were when they were gone. And then when my ex-wife left, there's that initial shock again, you know, this feeling of being offended, the feeling of sadness that this is ending, that this relationship is over. But there's also a sense of relief. There's a sense of, I don't need to deal with that problem anymore. Like that problem is going to be solved no matter what. I don't have to worry about it. And I think that is the giveaway. That is the indication that probably having a woman live with you probably is not going to be in your best interest most of the time. Now there are going to be opportunities where I'm wrong. I'm not saying this is true all the time, but for the vast majority of us, having your girlfriend move in with you usually happens way too soon, and it's not with enough thought being put into it, and it more often than not is going to end to the destruction of the relationship. Or worse yet, you're going to go up that escalation ladder, that commitment escalation ladder, right into marriage without ever really stopping to think about the ramifications of what you're doing. And then you've created a whole nother set of problems. You may be thinking, John, that had never happened to me. I would never marry a woman just because I'm shacking up with her. There's no way I would fall down into that rabbit hole. It can happen. That's how I got married. The sets of circumstances that you face oftentimes dictate your behavior, because at some point you have to decide whether you're going to do the honorable thing from your perspective or not. So when I met my ex-wife, she was preparing to go on a round-the-world cruise as a dancer on the QE2. And I would not be seeing her for, months and months at a time. She'd be, on the other side of the planet for, half this cruise. So there'd be stretches of like 5 or 6 months where we would not be able to hang out. And back then, like ship-to-shore communication was crazy expensive. I mean, you were talking about several dollars a minute to have a conversation. So it was not like you could just, and texting really wasn't that thing either. So communication would be very, very sporadic at best. It'd be like when she got to a port or something like that. And then back in those days, you had long distance charges. So they would charge you based on how far away you were from each other. And the phone companies were just making bank, So my phone bill, when she was out on this cruise, was running pretty high. Now, she was living at the time in New York City, and she was sharing an apartment. And when she would leave town on one of these tours, she would sublet her apartment out, because she had a roommate, and she would sublet out her part of it. And it would usually be for the length of the contract. So she had sublet her apartment for the next year, and because she was going to be on this cruise. Anyway, the pink mist, man, gets in your eyes. You start thinking from that romantic, hazy space, and we're missing each other. Oh, we're missing each other. She had taken a cruise over to England and then was coming back to New York. That was like a little mini voyage. Anyway, when she got back to New York, I said, baby, I don't know if we can do this. This is going to be pretty tough. And so she quit her contract. And I think she was in Paris, and she flew back to Paris, from Paris here, and she was moving in. There was no other place for her to go. Like, she had just quit her job, she had broken a contract for this job, and she had sublet her apartment. There was no place for her to go. She didn't have an income, she didn't have a place to live, she had nothing except me. And so a couple weeks into her living with me, I'm starting to get that feeling again, that little itch in the back of my head, thinking walls are closing in around me. I'm starting to feel a little suffocated, like I'm having trouble breathing. You know, that sensation of, oh my God, I think I may have made a huge mistake. And then I realized that there's nothing I can do. Like I have brought her here. Oh, I remember, no, she came to me and she said, John, I get the feeling that you're starting to have second thoughts about this. She said, well, I want you to know, like I've got, you're my plan A and my plan B. Like if you're not comfortable with this, you need to tell me right this minute. And I realized that I had created a set of circumstances that didn't leave her with a lot of options. I had taken her off of this ship. I had taken her away from her job and to some degree from her home. And now she was kind of my responsibility. Ooh, man. As a man, when you're responsible for someone, you take that shit pretty seriously. And so I thought, okay, I'm just getting cold feet. You know, I need to ignore this. I need to just soldier on, keep pushing forward. And I did. And of course, we were married a year later, and the rest is history. So you gotta be really, really careful. Cohabitation is a level of commitment, especially from her perspective, that you may not be ready for, aware of, or have considered all the ramifications associated with it. It is an enormous step. It is the single point of failure in a romantic relationship. Because as soon as you move in with her, as soon as she moves in with you, the romance has stopped. The opportunity for continuing a long-term romantic relationship becomes much, much more challenging because you're seeing her every morning. You're smelling her bad breath. You're smelling her shits in the bathroom. You're cleaning up after her. She's got all of her shit all over the place, and her cosmetics and her potions and all the stuff that she uses to make herself look right. You're going to see what she really, really looks like, you know? And the sex is not going to be what you think it's going to be. You think it's going to be all fun and games. I'm telling you, that dries up pretty quickly. Dating is going to be, let's have a movie, let's watch Netflix and chill. You know, it no longer is going to be going out and doing stuff. And although that might be fine for you, she's going to get fed up with that pretty soon, and she's going to start complaining about it. She's going to want you to put more effort in. Then there's just living together, you know, putting the dishes away, doing the laundry, cleaning the house, dealing with responsibilities, paying bills. All that stuff becomes a part of your romance now. And there is nothing romantic about accounting. There's nothing romantic about, you know, home janitorial services. All of these things become a part of your relationship, and none of it's romantic. So if you want to have a romantic relationship with a woman, do not allow her to move in with you under any circumstances. The minute she moves in with you, you better be prepared to change from romantic love to unconditional love, because that's the only way this is going to last. You're going to have to love her no matter what. Give that some thought for a minute. No matter what. You're going to have to love her no matter what, because she is going to be showing you another side of herself. She's going to be revealing her true nature to you. You're going to be really experiencing what it's like to be with her all the time. You're going to get the good, the bad, and the ugly. And in a romantic relationship, you don't get that. All you're getting is the good. So just prepare yourself that romantic relationships and cohabitation generally do not go together. All right, you guys, that's all I got for you today. I certainly hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please like and subscribe. If you know somebody who's getting ready to move in with the romantic love of their life, please suggest they watch this video. Hopefully it'll save them a lot of time, energy, and pain. Until next time, stay healthy, and if you can, stay single.